first come into the State Archives building, if you turn to the right, you'll see two large touchscreens. These touchscreens is called the Digital Gateway. The Digital Gateway screen displays images that can be found when you look through the collections housed in the State Archives. Since most people don't know how to use the Digital Gateway, we're going to take you step by step through the process. You can touch anywhere on the screen to start your journey. Notice 5 icons up here: Maps, Census, Timeline, About Us, and Video Archive. Also down at the bottom, there's an ADA version. Now, these same icons have lower tabs, so if you cannot reach the higher icons, you can touch on the lower tabs. We'll start with About Us. When you tap the About Us icon, a screen appears that tells you all about the archives. It gives a brief history, it gives the mission, and it gives you a welcome and a few simple rules. Feel free to pause the video and read over the About Us section. There are many maps in the State Archives, thousands of them. The maps featured here are more popular and unique. They also focus around central Pennsylvania and the archives itself. You can use your finger to move the listing of maps up and down. When you find the map that you like, tap on it. Oh, can't tap on the name. Try tapping on the map. That works. Once you pull up a map, you can open it with 2 fingers, reduce it with 2 fingers. You can use 1 finger to move the map around. This will make it easy to find the location you're looking for. When you're done, push return. Let's look at a different map. Oh, here's a fun map from 1770, early Pennsylvania. Let's see if we can find Harrisburg. We touch for the map. We use 2 fingers to expand. We can go to the key to find out that this is an early Pennsylvania map. We follow the Susquehanna River down. And look, see here is Dauphin County, and at the blue squiggly line at the point is where Harrison Ferry was and will someday, 20 years after this map, turn into Harrisburg. When you're done, push return. We can even find more modern maps. Here's one from 1889. Let's find the archive. Here's 7th Street. Here's 6th Street and Wallace, and the archive is right here in the center. Let's push return. And let's go to home. Now, let's look at some census information. When you push census, it kind of gives you a video's preview here. This is Miss Jessie Fordham. She used to live where the archive building is now. you can read her story. Unfortunately, there was no audio with this. Let's push return and look back at the map of the early 1900s here in Harrisburg, right at where the archives is. When we touch a residence, it brings up the census for that area. Now, not anywhere will bring up a census. You need to tap on a home. Now, different homes will bring up different censuses. You can scroll through the list. The house that I touched had a census as late as 1950 and as early as 1900. And the house I touched here, it only goes up to 1940. Let's look at the census information for 1900. As with the maps, you can open it and look closer. Those familiar with censuses can find a lot of information. You can find out where people worked, how old they were at the time. You can find if they were a man or a woman. Sometimes you can find their race. You can learn about their children and their address. Let's return. And back to home. Now let's investigate the timeline. The timeline goes from 1630 to 2023. When you first bring up the timeline, you're already on the 1630 page. Let's go through all the dates and stop at some interesting ones. If you find a picture on the date section that you like, you can tap on it. For example, right here is an early treaty with William Penn and the Native Americans. As with the maps, I can zoom in. Look at these fun signatures from the Native Americans. Since they didn't have English names, they wrote symbols for their names. Let's return. Look, here's an interesting person. I did a report on him. Ephraim Slaughter. He was a famous soldier from this area. You can even find historic photographs. Here's the Harrisburg train station in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And here's a favorite photo, the Pennsylvania Archives. There are several photos featured on the interactive board. They don't show every single photo that the archive has, but this is a sampling of what you can find if you do a little digging through the archives. Now, let's get back to the board. When you're done, let's go home. As with the other sections, the video archive is easy to scroll up and down through the samples of videos. It is only a small sampling of the videos that the archive holds. Let's look at one. Which one to choose? We've already looked at Mrs. Jessie's. Here's one of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Notice, unlike the other images, you can't make them larger or smaller. When the video finishes, it'll return back to the video screen. The staff has worked very hard to make the videos work. But sometimes it's too much for the system. Oh well, it's okay, just push return. The Pennsylvania Archive is also ADA compliant. Down at the lower portion of the screen is an ADA compliant panel. When pushed, the interactive screen will come at a lower level so that people with disabilities or cannot reach so high, or young people, can still reach and use the interactive board. It has every single feature of the large board, but is easier accessed from a lower angle. When you're done using the ADA board, just simply X out of it and return to home. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video on the Digital Gateway at the Pennsylvania State Archives building. Please push like and watch our other videos from the Pennsylvania Archives series, and enjoy your visit to the Pennsylvania State Archives.